Hey Hosting Discussion. I'm sitting with Christian Taylor, or professionally known as
Craylor.
Christian is a super talented YouTuber who, in my view, was able to, who not only serves as almost like a great ambassador for the web hosting industry, but he's one of the very few guys who are able to break things down in a very coherent way, and talking about these things in a very simple way for anyone to understand. Something that a lot of people in this industry struggle to do, actually. So why don't you introduce yourself a little bit more and just tell the web hosting world about you and the kind of content that you love creating.
Sure, yeah. Well, my name is Christian Taylor, also known as Craylor, and I make videos to help entrepreneurs find the right tools to grow their audience. So I'm primarily reaching small business owners, think like a local bakery shop or a landscaper who is taking that DIY step of how do I build my online presence? How do I build a website? Or lately it might be just how do I get a link in bio? So I'm passionate about educating people on why you should still buy a domain name, where you should buy web hosting, which platform to use, things that business owners really need to know and want to know, but they often get intimidated in the setup process, or they think until they can afford to hire an agency, they're just not going to bother with it. My goal is to bridge that gap between the intermediate users or the experts who know a lot and the beginners who don't know anything.
We met last year in Austin at the CloudFest USA, and what stood out when we chatted is that, and I want to understand your decision on actually get into the kind of like web hosting and domains and talk about it. How did you come to that decision? Was it just your personal interest in the space, or did you kind of saw like a gap?
It was both and. I started out doing hardware tech, like reviewing phones. I wanted to be MKBHD, and somewhere along the lines, I personally got more interested in web design. My dad's a software developer, so I think that was part of it, just watching him work. So I started tinkering with Wix, Squarespace, eventually found WordPress. And since that was an interest in my life as I was making the hardware content, and I'm passionate about content creation first, I would say, above any of my other interests, I thought, I wonder where the best place is to buy a domain name. I was genuinely curious. You've got GoDaddy and Namecheap and Porkbun and all these different companies selling seemingly the same thing. So what's the difference? And I'm thinking, this is a really nerdy video that probably no one is going to watch, but I was so passionate about this idea that I made the video anyway and put it out there as a passion project, knowing this is kind of random, it's nothing to do with hardware, but we'll just see where this goes. And if it gets no views, then I got it out of my system and I made the video. Surprisingly, the video turned out to be one of the best performing videos on my channel, not only for views, but also revenue. So I kind of scratched my head.
Some of them have like hundreds of thousands of views. It's incredible.
Yeah. I'm like, this is crazy that so many people want to know where to buy a domain. So I didn't do much with that. I continued making the hardware videos for about a year and a half. I was talking to a good friend of mine who's a successful creator, and he's like, dude, what are you doing? Do you want to do this full time? Do you enjoy content creation? You found something that worked. Go do that. So I thought about it for about 6 months because I take way too long to make decisions. And finally I decided, okay, I'm going all in on this niche because it is a legitimate interest for me. I could honestly make content about anything I'm interested in. And I think it was a year after I made that pivot, I was able to go full time.
Not to take too much of your time, because I know you have a few interviews lined up yourself. If there's one advice for web hosting companies out there who struggle with their social media game, just whether they're, because I mean, for most companies, it's a craft that they just don't have in their capacity. So what advice could you give to web hosting companies when it comes to like putting out like videos to YouTube or anywhere else really?
Oh, I would say remember that your customer, if your target customer is a beginner, an end user, remember that they don't know anything. it's really easy when you're wrapped up in the tech side of things to assume that they already know terms like what is a PHP worker, or even explaining even the concept of hosting. I'll get comments on videos saying, oh, I bought my Squarespace plan and I bought web hosting. How do I connect them? It's like, okay, no, let's back up here. You need to understand Squarespace is a hosted platform. So really take a step back. And I know this is tough for anyone who's technical because you have this bias of already knowing all the terms, but see yourself in the beginner's shoes. Try to think, what do they know? What are they going to be confused by? Maybe even ask friends and family who aren't technical, does this make sense to you? Is there a way that I can explain it better that's going to illustrate it? Because I think a lot of the internal content I see on company channels is kind of blind to the fact that people don't already know what your company is or the ins and outs of web hosting.
Awesome advice. Thank you so much for chatting with me.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.